units and see what I have it covered. Let's throw another problem on the board. And of course, with all the ones that we've been doing, I want you to give me the domain, the range, all the intercepts, the vertex, and then sketch it, and all of that. So let's go with negative 3 halves x squared minus 1/2 x plus 2 is equal to 0. And after this, we'll look at both sections. So get your syllabi out, syllabi. Get it out, because we're going to be going over it and looking to see what we need to do for a test. Make a note of this. And that's what your first 2 units are going to cover. So if you've done that homework and you've done more homework, then good, it's going to help you grade. But that's what I'm going to test you on. So you need to highlight them so you can make sure you know them.
We're gonna have 4 test times.
Yeah, that's what I usually have, but I rarely get to finish Unit 4 in all my classes. So if I do get to Unit 4, it'll be whatever we cover up until the last day of class, which is, the last day of class is the, I want to say the 25th of April, but I'm not sure, somewhere around there. Because the 28th is finals.
So those are the 4 tests?
Yep.
Okay, awesome.
Right now, we're finishing up 3.4. And I'm gonna probably put up a test on Unit 1 and Unit 2 in the next week. We're gonna talk about that after we do this problem. So let me take that over to the next page.
Oh, I should give you one more thing.
Hmm?
I said, give you one more thing.
Yeah, it actually, let me do it. Best thing to do is just take your syllabus out and just highlight those sections. Unit 4, if I get the chance, I will cover all of Unit 4 because you're going to see Unit 4 in Calc. And I would highly suggest that you keep your tests. I would print them out if I were you, and I would keep your notebook for this class because you need to study it about a week before Calc 1 starts. Especially those things I hit on: factoring, the shortcuts, complete the square, rationalizing the denominator, and logarithms, which we're going to get into in Unit 4.
You teach about?
Yeah, I teach Calc 2 right now. Don't know if I'll be teaching it that time or not, but the more people we have in 110, the more people we take in 111. The more people that take 111, the better chance you have Calc 1 up here. So here at Anderson campus. All right, so we have this problem for those that are kind of meditating. I'll start you off. You shouldn't be meditating. Everybody should be just about finished with it. And if you are not, then either 1, you haven't been working with us; 2, you haven't been paying attention; or 3, you haven't got the whole concept down yet. And 4, if you haven't now when I say about finished, you should at least have the vertex or the x-intercept. You should have one of those 2. Now, you might not have the sketch or the domain and range yet, and that's okay. But you should at least be through with complete the square. All right, so we're going to factor out a -3/2. Factor out a -3/2. That's what we're going to do. But I'm going to show you what you do when you factor out. So I'm going to divide each one by -3/2. That's what you do when you factor. So factor out a -3/2, and that's going to give you what here? It will always give you what? X squared, because you can't do complete the square unless you have x is equal to what? 1. So that's why you do it. -1/2 divided by -3/2 is a positive. And here's the math. I'm not going to worry about the negatives because I already got positive down. So we're dividing 1/2 by -3/2, or 3/2 to multiply by 2 what? And that's going to give us what? 1/3? Plus blank is equal to -2 plus -3/2 times blank. And I'm not going to go over that rule, but I'm just going to mention it. Whatever you factor out, you multiply by the right side blank. Now that we've got x, a is equal to 1, we can use completing the square. Remember, completing the square comes what? Second. If you have to factor out something, you've got to factor out first. You cannot complete the square unless A is equal to 1. So, 1/3 divided by 2 over 1 squared. 1/3 divided by 2 over 1 is equal to what?
1/6.
And 1/6 squared is
136.
the biggest problem with these problems, and these are test questions right here, these are test questions, is y'all try to do this first. And you can't do that. You got to do this first. And when we're through, we got negative 3/2 times x squared plus 1/3 x plus 1/36 is equal to negative 2 minus 3/2 times 1 over 36. And that is complete the square. You just completed the square on that problem. Now you haven't got it finished yet because basically you've got a cluster and you need to clean up the cluster. So this is shortcut number 1. So that's going to be negative 3/2 x plus 1/6 quantity squared is equal to negative 2 minus 3. We'll go into 3 one time, go into 36, what? 12 times? And what's 2 times 12?
24.
24, so that'd be 1 over 24. And this turns into 48 over what? 24, Hubert. That's right, class. 48 over 24. And that's when everybody's supposed to be confused and don't know where that came from. And I'm not going to answer it. Negative 3/2 x plus 1/6 quantity squared. And what's negative 48 minus 1?
Positive. No, not positive. 40. No.
Oh, isn't that nice? Well, the problem is the bottom didn't come out like that, but it may get better. Okay, now from that, we can say a lot of things. One, we know that it's opening which way?
Downwards.
It's opening downwards. We know that, what's the 1.5 tell us?
It's going to be wide.
Wider? No, it's going to be
skinny.
narrow.
Skinny.
Narrow, skinny, whatever. We know the vertex
It's one.
is equal to negative 1/6, comma, 49 over 24. What else do we know? We already know that the y-intercept, somebody tell me that's 0. The y-intercept is what? I don't know what the original was. Y'all help me out. 0, comma,
2.
is it 2? All right. So now we've got a good bit of the drawing. Now you see why I really harp on completing the square? Quadratic formula doesn't give you nothing but what? The x-intercepts. Now, what about give me the intercept form of this equation right here. Somebody would need to, and put a star beside that. And the only reason I'm showing you this is because sometimes the homework wants it. And there may be a question on the test. I'll try not to do it, but there may be a question that wants you to put it in the intercept form. So that'd be f of x is equal to what? Negative 3/2, parentheses, x plus 1/6. No, that's all right. I'll do it.
X squared plus 1/6.
X plus 1/6 squared. And then what?
Minus 40, or plus 49
Plus
over 24.
49 over 24. So you need to make a note of that. Highlight that. Make sure you know in your notes that the reason I show you that is because I don't want anybody saying, oh, you didn't show us how to do that. Yeah, I did. Been showing it to you since the beginning. So now, what's the only thing we got to do now to get our x-intercepts? Solve for x, Hubert. That's right, class. Appreciate the interaction. Negative, let's move that over. If it lets me. No, it's not. So negative 3/2 x plus 1/6 quantity squared is equal to negative 49 over 24. Do we have x-intercepts?
No.
Yes, we do.
Yeah,
You're
we
wrong.
do.
You're going to live in a ditch. Why? There's a negative over there, Hubert. Yes, but there's also what?
A negative.
Negative over there, and it's going to make it a what?
Positive.
So we have x-intercepts. You got to watch that. The only time a negative tells you that there ain't there is when you've got a positive right here. And then you'll have a negative, and you can't take the square root of a negative. Okay?
All right.
You winner again.
Yeah.
Till the next question. Divide by negative 3/2. Divide by negative 3/2. You multiply by negative 2/3. And what's 3 times 24?
70 or 69.
72.
I was hoping it'd come out to be a nice number, but it's not. Yeah, 72. Oh well, we'll have to rationalize. Okay, so, well, I meant for this one to be difficult. So, you got x plus 1/6 quantity squared is equal to 49 times 2 is, or we could do this, we could cancel. That'd be a 12, right? It does come out to be nice. No, 36. Yay! So that'd be 49 over what? And why did I say yay?
It's even.
Both of them are perfect what? Squares.
Squares.
I didn't expect that to happen.
Oh well, let's take it. Very sorry.
So how do you undo a square?
Square rooted.
That's going to give you x plus 1/6 is equal to positive or negative 7 over 6. And that positive or negative really goes out front, but you can take it to the top or the bottom. It doesn't matter. Most people take it to the top, so you can add these two. So x is equal to positive or negative 7 minus 1 over 6. It's a major high level math there. 7 minus 1 is,
6.
and 6 divided by 6.
One.
So there's one x-intercept. Negative 7 minus 1 is negative 8. Negative 8 over 6 is negative 4/3. So now sketch it out. So let's take a look at what we've got so far. Y-intercept of 0, 2. A vertex. Somebody give me the vertex again.
Negative 1/6, comma 49 over 24.
And a x-intercept of 1 and negative 4/3. There's your graph. And we got a y-intercept of 0, 2. And we've got a vertex of negative 1/6, which would be to the left. And what, 24 and 24 is 48, so that's negative 2. So negative vertex is negative 1/8. And negative 2 is close enough for government work. Well, let me change that to green. Negative 1/8 and negative 2. And then the x-intercepts will be 1 and supposed to be positive, you go door. Just quit. Negative 1/6 and positive 2. It's a little bit more than positive 2. Somebody, what's 49 divided by 24? 2.1, 2.2?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. And then how did I know that was wrong? Because I was looking. It wasn't working. It was down here, and I knew that it opens which way? Downward, and I knew one x-intercept was over here. Something wasn't working. And if you're catching on to that, you're catching on real good. So 1 is right here, and negative 4/3 is negative 1 1/3. So it looks like to me it's lining up pretty good. Because A told us that it's opening down and it's more what? Narrow. So let's go ahead and do domain. Range is negative infinity to 49/24. Increasing from negative infinity to negative 1/6, and then decreasing from negative 1/6 to infinity. You should be able to do one of those in about a couple of minutes, all the way through. If it takes you 35 minutes to get to just the sketching part, then you're playing Beethoven. Ding, 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 ding. You're pecking at Beethoven. In other words, anybody in here that plays a musical instrument knows that to play a musical instrument flowingly, in other words, to flow, you have to be able to play the music without what? Without breaks. How do you play the music without breaks? Practice. So if you suck time-wise at doing these, then that means that the teacher hasn't done his job and that the moon is not right and it's all Bush's fault, right? And you've worked 2 problems, and one of them you worked in class, the other one you worked at home, 1 problem, homework. That's why. Time, if you suck at the time, if it takes you 30 minutes to do complete the square, then you're playing Beethoven 1 key at a time. All right. Now, let's look at the test. Pull up the test that I've given in the past for Math 110. Let's go from that. See how many of y'all have taken advantage of the extra time that we've been given. Where we can make fun of people. Let's see. Oops, wrong key. I told you Unit 1 goes up to what, 2.4? Is that what I said? 2.3, so let's look at those. Oh yeah, that's real good. Out of 21 people, we've got 1. Let's see, 1, 2.1, 2.2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 of y'all hadn't done SWAT. And I'm talking about a test right now. So that means some of y'all are going to be SOL. Some of y'all are going to be trying to do 2, 3 things of homework or 4 things of homework in the next day or 2. Good luck. Thought I'd be pleased. Now I'm just pissed off. All right, you might want to make a note of what you see on the board because I'm going through and I'm going to take out some questions. Determine the domain and the range. Well, for you right now, all of you should be going, that's easy. That's what you should be saying. Use transformation to tell us what that looks like. What is that -2? Right here. What is that?
Is that flip?
2 to the what?
Up. To the left. Right.
To the right. Oh, we didn't listen to you, Hubert. Okay. And
It's
-1
going
is
down.
1 what? Down?
Down.
What does a 2 tell us? It's a regular, meaning it's positive, but it also is what? Being squished a little
It's
bit.
narrow.
Yep. So, it's not these 2. Why is it not these 2? They're negative. That would be a -2 or a -1 or a -3 right there. So those 2 are out. So it's one of these 2. Which one has a, let's see, one of them's supposed to have a vertical shift of 1. Why doesn't it? It's one of these 2. Why it doesn't have it? You might have to plug it in. Let's see, plug in 0. 0 minus 2 is what? -2. And